And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherailscoffeeroasters.com.
Fake news. Boston wrestling is fake news.
Just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come. And all I know is annualized confusion. And what I'm saying is you don't realize what this means. Have we seen our finest hour? Good times surely will come. Just like a desert flower, waiting on the rain to come.
Go ahead, sir.
Hello, everybody. This is WWE Hall of Famer Tony, Mr. USA Atlas, along with my good friend that y'all been seeing the last couple of months. This is Larry Hutton, the owner and promoter for NAWA Wrestling up here in the New England area. So anytime y'all guys ever come to some of the shows, and Larry, what you got going on up here in the good old Maine area? We got a little snow not too long ago, but it didn't last long.
No, we're looking for some more this weekend. It looks like.
Yep.
Not much, but
not
it's
much.
Maine.
But this is Maine. We kind of got used to living in Maine like this. You know, Maine is a very, very good state. I've been here since 1990. Met my wife Monica here, and now. I like y'all most know, I don't know much about computers, but luckily the thing about people in Maine, they do things, excuse me, the old-fashioned way. And that is when friends up here need help, friends will come and help each other. I live here in Auburn, Maine. Larry lives about an hour from me, but Larry takes time out of his busy day to come up here, and so that we could do this, weekly program Tuesday with Tony Atlas. And this is the gentleman that helped me to get started, helped me get my Facebook page started, and we're gonna go right back on Facebook pretty soon. Larry is working on it. But anyway, Larry is a very good guy, a hell of a wrestler. If you know, wrestling as the hillbilly, Larry Hunton. And Larry been known to have, believe it or not, on the independent circuit. There's wrestlers seen that had a harder chop than Larry, but not on the independent circuit. So Larry is known all over New England for having the hardest chop in the business. So we should call him, you know how you call Greg the Hammer Volataire? This is Larry the Chop Huntley. He put the chops on them young boys, make them want to wee wee on himself. But anyway, me and Larry was having a discussion not too long ago, and once again, before I get too much into it, Happy New Year's to everybody. I'm so happy that America made it through the all the bad things that happened to us, last year, with the virus going on and everything. I would recommend anybody, not tell anybody, I recommend anybody if you can, you know, get your shots, get vaccinated. If you don't want to get vaccinated, wear a mask. But this is America. You're free to make your own decision on what you think is safe for you and your family. Now, I have met some people that can't take the shot. I was at Wrestling Universe in Queen, and I met a gentleman that could not take the shot because he breaks out in highs when he takes it. So everything's not for everybody. So those that don't want to take the shot, I have no ill feelings about it. But if you're able to take it, it'd be good to take it. I took it for the safety of my wife. As y'all know, my wife is in the hospital in DeVille and everything. But Larry is really the director of,
Can I tell you my COVID story?
Yes, please.
My son is autoimmune compromised. He's had 3, not the booster. He's had 3 full shots. Everyone in my house has had 2. You know why I took them? I took them for my family. I also took them so we could try to get life back to what life should be.
Exactly. And here in America, we need to get back to the way things should be. Me and Larry, we have worked hard up here in Maine to try to keep wrestling going. And if it wasn't for Larry, there'd be no wrestling in the New England area. So he's a very, very good man. But anyway, on with the show. Me and Larry were talking earlier. The first thing I asked Larry, well, what the hell I'm going to talk about now? And Larry said, well, don't worry about it, Tony. Soon that camera come on, that big mouth of yours going to flap out something. You get them lips are flapping, something going to come out of So what Larry did, he got he's going to help me here, with a few things. Because the way my brain operates, when it do operate, is that I say things as they come to me. I could be talking about wrestling. All of a sudden, I'm talking about shoes, or then I'm talking about politics. I would go from one subject to the next. And the reason for that, that's how us wrestling was. We drove down the highway. Like I said, we had to entertain each other. So one of the ways we entertain each other is tell stories about different wrestlers that we met. Now, let's say if I'm in Georgia and I just left Louisiana. So they know Ernie Ladd, Junkyard Dog, Ted DiBiase, Buck Robley, and all them guys in Louisiana. They say, hey, Tony, what's going on in Louisiana? So that was the entertainment, even though that wrestler was not in Louisiana. He got entertained for me to tell my story, my time in Louisiana. I could see Bruiser Brody coming from the airport. And I would say, hey, Brody, where you been? Oh, I just got back from Japan. Hey, how was it? So Brody started telling me all, the Japanese story, those story that is funny or dangerous or what the promoter is like. So that's why the old saying was telephone, telegraph, and tell a wrestler, because when we meet, we would have 6 wrestlers in a dressing room, and all 6 of them wrestlers the night before was in another state. So I wasn't in North Carolina, but it's a wrestler in the room that just left North Carolina. So I learned what went on in North Carolina from him. Learned what went on in Louisiana for this one. Learned what went on in Texas with this one. And that's what wrestling was pretty much all about. So with this section, Larry's going to help me to get my brain working, which is going to be good luck, Larry. Also, a lot of people was telling me that a couple of sections back that the volume was real bad. So for the future, I'm going to try to get myself some microphone so that when I talk, people could understand me, because I'm hard to understand even when I am not talking about anything. So Larry, you got any ideas of what you would like for me to tell the fans?
Something we haven't really covered a lot of is actual wrestlers, and in my head popped Mid-South.
Right.
That's Watts' territory. That's what, 82, 83, 84, somewhere in there.
Right. Yeah. Bill Watts bought the territory. And Mid-South was also, it was Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Yeah.
A lot of miles.
Yes, it was. Now, one of the things about working that territory, you could be booked in New Orleans one day, but the next night, Cowboy Bill Watts got you booked in Oklahoma City. So the guys would drive all night long. The show used to start at 8 o'clock. They would end at 10 o'clock. Well, the wrestlers would get a six-pack of beer. They would get themselves what I would say bologna blowout, which is a pound of bologna, a pound of sharp cheese, and a loaf of Wonder White bread. And another guy was sitting in the back. He would ask you. He would slice off a piece of that bologna, nice thick piece of bologna like that. Then he would slice off a piece of cheese. He would slap that on that white Wonder bread. You want mustard or mayonnaise? Guy said, "Oh, give me mustard." He take out his knife, put a little mustard on that. Here you go, kid. So you bite that sandwich, you chew on that one bite for about 15 minutes. Then
That's how you stay awake.
That's right. That's right. You have to stay awake like that because otherwise, you eat your bologna blowout, and then the guys will eat drink their beer, And every wrestler, if there's four wrestlers in the car, all four wrestlers will get a six-pack of beer. And the gimmick was you had to be finished with your beer by the time you get back to the building or get to the next town. But the hardest part of the business, especially in Mid-South, was the traveling. And there were some stories that was passed around during that time about Mid-South. Now, the promoter name was Cowboy Bill Watts. Now, Cowboy Bill Watts was a mountain of a man. I'm 6'6", 6'7", nearly 400 pounds, just a big, solid, rock hard guy. And if I'm not mistaken, you fans, y'all good at this anyway. When I say something wrong, y'all, straighten me out there. Because Larry told me that my last episode, one episode I did, I was talking about the dates of when the WWF became the WWF. And then Larry later on, after the program was over, and plus a couple of you well-informed fans out there, said, "Tony, you got the dates wrong." Which, when I look back on it, I did. So if I make a mistake on any of the dates or anything I said, feel free to correct me. Because, like I said, sometimes I get stories and things all mixed up. Also, I'd like to give my apology to all the people in Guatemala, because when I went to Guatemala, Central America, times were different. And a gentleman emailed me, which I really, really appreciate. And he said, "Tony, it's not like that no more." He said, "I would love for you to come back to Guatemala and visit our city. Things have changed a great deal since the last time that you was there." So I appreciate him giving me that information. Because like I said, a lot of my stories back in the 70s. Well, America was different 50 years ago, 40 years ago. Guatemala was different 50, 40 years ago. And most definite, wrestling was different 40 or 50 years ago. So getting back to Mid-South, the first time that I worked Mid-South, I can't remember the promoter name, but I worked in Alexandria, Louisiana. And I think the promoter name, if y'all can remember, anybody that was around at that time, the promoter name for Alexandria, Louisiana, and he picked me up at the airport, and he had his pickup truck, had these blowhorns on the top of it. So he said, "Tony, I want you to take off your shirt and get in the back of the truck." I go, "Oh, okay." So I take my shirt off, get in the back of the truck. He get out the car, had this bottle of baby oil. We started squirting baby oil all over me. Rub that in, kid. Rub that in, kid. oh, okay. I'm in Louisiana this is my first day in Louisiana. I thought this man was crazy or something. So he put me in the back of his pickup truck. He drive through the black neighborhood. Ladies and gentlemen, all wrestling fans around the world, right here in this good town, he named the street and everything. He hollered at the guy at the barber shop, hey, Joe over there, hey, Sam. He knew all the people in the neighborhood. He was an Italian. He was Italian, but he knew all the people in the neighborhood. Look what I got for you here. Tony Atlas, look at his muscle. Hey, kid, show him that muscle. So I stand up, I put the muscle up. Oh, look at the muscles on the biggest arms in the world, the biggest muscles in the world, the world's strongest man. Going to be at the match tonight. You guys come on out. Everybody come on out. See the mighty Tony Atlas. Show him that muscle, kid. Show him that muscle, kid. I pose some more. So I'm getting pissed because I think this guy is messing with me. So I get back in the truck. He give me a towel. I wipe off and everything, you know. We get to the building. The building is packed. About 70% of the audience is black. So after the show's over, I said, why do we do that? He said, well, most of the blacks in this area, they don't watch television. He said, so I go through, I put up posters, that whenever I got a black wrestler come in town, he said, I take them to the neighborhood so the people could meet them before the match. I said, oh, wow. He said, that's how I get them out. He said, because most time they're not sitting around watching TV. Right. He said, most of them don't have TV. They was mostly into music. Every black guy had a radio and a big jukebox, but not everybody sat around and watched television. When I was a kid, I didn't watch TV. You know, most black young men don't sit around and watch TV. So he said, that's how I let the black audience know who's in town. So about a month or so went by. He booked me again in Alexandria, Louisiana. So when I got on the plane this time, I looked at him. I said, hey, he said, hey, Tony. I said, guess what? He said, what? I said, I got my baby oil. I got my baby oil. So he said, good. I can save. He said, I wish I had known I would have saved my money on baby oil. And we did, every time I went there, we did the same thing. Really, I met this young lady. Remember I said a wrestler had a woman in every port? Well, I was no different than any other wrestler. And the food, everything he ate was hot.
Spicy hot.
Not spicy hot. Hot.
Oh, hot. Okay.
Hot. So, and this girl, she would set my butt on fire every time she cooked for me. So I said, well, let me think of something. She said, my mom want to cook you dinner. What would you like to eat? And I said, well, now what in the hell could she make that don't set me on fire? Then it dawned on me. I said, make me spaghetti. I like spaghetti and meatball. Safe, I felt. I took one bite of that damn spaghetti.
That sauce had so much red pepper in it.
Red, no, the green.
Oh,
the green is the hottest.
Oh, jeez.
Man, I took a bite of that damn spaghetti. Even when I fought it burned the hairs off my butt. I ain't got no hairs on my butt right now from fighting that spaghetti. Everything was hot.
It never grew back.
Oh, my goodness. No, never grew back. But that was how they used to eat. Now, I'm like I said, this is in the 70s. So life in Louisiana, I'm sure, have changed a lot since the 70s. You know, in Virginia, just about on every kitchen table, there was some chitlins and pig feet. Just about once a month on every African American table. Now it's not. Because people have moved up. People don't have to eat that type of food no more. In other words, we eat on the hog now. But that was my first time in Louisiana. Another time that I was in Louisiana, I used to hang out a lot with JYD, the Junkyard Dog. And I'm riding with Dog one time. He used to take me to this gym. And it was a Christian gym. And in fact, right before I did, if you want to get that Mid-South tape, you see me doing 550 on that tape. Well, believe it or not, that same day I got kicked out of a gym because it was a Christian gym. So the way I used to lift, I used to have a guy to hang me the weight. Then don't touch it no more. And I would push it up. Well, I take the 550 off. The guy hung it to me. I bring it out. I started to push it up. He reached for it. I holler out, don't fucking touch it.
Yeah,
Don't-
I
Don't
can
fucking touch my weight. So the
see.
owner, who's a this is a Christian gym. He said, yeah. He said, well, you can't work out here no more. So I can't remember what that gym name was, but it was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Another time, I'm riding with JYD, and we get to a building, and I hope this person don't mind me telling the story because it got a real uh, bad ending to it. And the guy is my friend. His name is Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Hacksaw was in Mid South at this time. We were going to wrestle in the ring, but like I said, a lot of guys they were into being crazy and wild and drunk. Well, Hacksaw came to the building one day drunk. I mean, so freaking drunk. It took him 10 minutes to get in the ring. So he would go to get in the ring, and they had the steps. You had to climb them. So Hacksaw would go for them steps. Kept missing the step. He would go, and the fan would go, whoa. He'd back up, measure the steps again, try to climb the step. He missed the steps again. The fan would go, whoa. So this went on for about 5 minutes. Finally, the referee told me, said, jump out of the ring, Tony, and throw him in the ring. That way you can help him get in the ring. They want me to put him over. In other words, I had to lose to him, but he was so drunk. So anyway, I throw him into the ring. I throw him into the rope. I drop down. I was going to jump up. When he come off the rope, I was going to give him a clothesline. Well, when Hacksaw jump on me, he trips. And he goes out of the ring again. So we start all over again, trying to get Hacksaw back in the ring. He go for the step, he missed. And the fan would go, whoa, 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 every time he missed them steps. So finally, the referee said, Tony, go get him again. So I jump out of the ring again. I throw Hacksaw back in the ring again. The referee said, go home now. So now I pick Hacksaw up for a slam. But instead of slamming him, I fall back with him. So the referee can count me out. Hacksaw trying to get up. Stay here. Let up. He's trying to get here. He's on top of me. He's like this. He's trying to get up. Hacksaw, stay. So the referee had to do this. So finally, the match is over. Hacksaw win the match. We get back to the dressing room. About a couple of days later, JYD comes up and said, hey, Tony, you hear about Hacksaw? I said, no. What happened with Hacksaw? He said he was in a car accident. I said, oh, Lord, I sure hope he wasn't drunk. They said, yeah, but unfortunately, his girlfriend got killed. So sometimes things we do hurt others. You know, it wasn't intentionally, but, like I said, my good friend Tommy Wildfire Rich was driving one night, flipped the car over, and broke my neck. Wasn't intentionally, and I don't know what happened because I was in the car with Hacksaw, but I do know that later on I hear that me and him just got through wrestling that same night. When Hacksaw talked about it on Legend House, WWE Legend House, I wanted to tell my part then, but I decided maybe you should keep your mouth shut, Tony. But my condolences goes out every day to Hacksaw. I go, his ex-girlfriend. He got a beautiful wife now. He lived,
He was just cleared of cancer for the second time.
Oh, God bless him. God bless him. Yeah, poor Hacksaw. But sometimes things happen in our lives that we have to live with. And then when he told the story in Legend, right then I said, I remember that night because I wrestled you that night. I didn't want to say anything, but he had a black Trans Am. I remember wrestling that night. That was one of the things about us wrestlers. We had to party on the road. I mean, everything we did was on the road. We got 10 days off.
Felt you were indestructible too.
With being young, did that. Yeah, being a wrestler, you're right, Larry. Being a wrestler,
Big.
yeah, we big and strong.
You're larger than life.
Larger than life. And the promoter was blown up, building us up up here bigger than what we were. I remember old timer like Johnny Weaver would come up to me and say, "Hey kid, don't believe don't believe your own publicity. Don't get the big head. Don't be a prima donna." You know, they used to tell us because it's very hard, to stay humble when people are telling you every day of your life how great you are, how
You guys
wonderful
are,
you
you
are.
guys are rock stars back then.
Yeah, we're just like rock stars. People look. There was only so many stations. They didn't have all the network and the TV station. You had like 4 or 5 TV stations. So you was on one of them stations. Well, what was it? ABC, NBC, and CBS, and Public.
Yep.
But no, they had another one. They had that one. They had
Usually there was a UHF channel.
right USF channel, but it didn't have what was it? The cable, HBO.
Well, that's when
But
you had
yeah,
cable,
that came
but
on
that's-
later in December. Was HBO was the first one, and then Ted Turner came along with TBS, which was the first cable wrestling show. Back I think it was '73 or '74 where he started. But before that,
everything was syndicated.
yeah, everything was syndicated. So I could wrestle in New York as a bad guy and go to Virginia and wrestle as a good guy because people never saw me. I was wrestling Bruno Sammartino down in Houston, Texas. And people was asking me, "Who is that?" Bruno. They didn't know who he was because that TV did not go into Texas area. That's why you had these different territories. Like you had the Von Erichs who ran Dallas at Fort Worth. But then you go to Houston, it's a different TV, a different talent. And the people in Houston didn't know the people in Texas, and the people in Texas, yeah.
When
and
I was
then
growing
you go
up,
West Texas, and you had what's his name? Doran Funk ran
Senior,
West Texas.
yeah,
So you had like 3 different territories, but the TV would not go
over the line.
right. You couldn't go from West Texas with a match from West Texas would never get seen in Dallas, and a match in Dallas would never get seen in West Texas. But that
The only way we got to see, as a 50-year-old guy now, back in the 80s and the 70s, all we ever had was magazines.
yeah,
That's the only way we learned about any place else,
that's how you know
except for
about.
what was on our 1-hour television a week.
That's right. But you see, getting back to Mid South, JYD, I would say, at that time, was a bigger name, believe it or not, than Ted DiBiase.
Oh,
Believe it or not, in Mid South, JYD was selling out everywhere you went. Everywhere you went. Ernie Ladd was the first African American booker. Bill Watts made Ernie Ladd his booker. Well, one time, I don't know what the stories are about. I'm just going to tell you what I seen. Because what happened before this, I wasn't there. I'm just going by what the other wrestlers said. There was a woman involved. I don't know.
no.
Oh, yeah, there was a woman involved. And between Matt Bourne and Hacksaw, I could be wrong, I think Matt Bourne dated her first. And then Hacksaw started dating her, or vice versa. Whatever the story is. If you meet Hacksaw, he probably could tell you the story. Matt Bourne is no longer here to tell his half of it. But anyway, we was in the back, and they got into a fight. There was a lot of fights in Mid-South. A lot of fights in Mid-South dressing room. If me and Larry had a problem in Mid-South days, Bill Watts said, "Okay, you guys fight it out. But after you finish fighting, I don't want to hear no more about it. Finish it right now." So these guys got into a fight in the dressing room. And Ernie Ladd played professional football. Ernie Ladd, for those that don't know, was 6'9", 330 pounds. He was an ex-football player.
Yeah.
He had bad knees from a lot of operation on his knees from football. So Ernie going to break up the fight. So Ernie get in between them. Like they got one big hand, and Ernie had hands like this. One big hand he holding Hacksaw. The other big hand he holding
Bourne.
Matt Bourne. Yeah, Bourne. So Ernie's knees started to get weight on him. So you ever see that like in the Wizard of Oz, when you throw the water on the witch, and then she started melting down the ground. That was Ernie. Ernie was here, and all of a sudden Ernie, he's sinking. like this. And Ernie go, Ernie laugh. For y'all that don't know Ernie laugh, this is how Ernie would talk. Tony Atlas, Tony Atlas. Y'all come over here, Tony Atlas, and stop there two people from fighting there. My knees are giving out on me, Tony Atlas. Tony Atlas, y'all down back muscles. Y'all down muscle, Tony. Help me out here. So I go in to help Ernie break him up. Finally, Hacksaw get Matt Bourne in a headlock. Hacksaw take his finger and he go for his eye. He go for eye. I grab Hacksaw's hand to pull it back because he was going to take Matt Bourne out. Wrestling would fight that way. They would maim you. They would rip your eyes out or something. So that was one fight that I witnessed in Mid-South. Another fight that I witnessed in Mid-South was between one of the hardest. Y'all look this guy up. I wish you could find tapes of him. His name was Thunderbolt Patterson.
There's tapes everywhere, Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt Patterson will electrify you on it. In fact, a lot of people say that Dusty Rhodes would have never made a quarter if he had not copied Thunderbolt gimmick. If you look at Thunderbolt and you look at Dusty Rhodes, they had the same gimmick. You know, Dusty played a cool black guy. You know, your Blue Eye Soul Brother. We used to call him Blue Eye Soul Brother. He did all the black gimmick, did all the black moves, you know, all the fancy stuff, you know, the ass shaking, you know, everything. But it's all started before Thunderbolt. There was a guy called Bearcat Wright that started it. Then Thunderbolt started picking it up. Then Dusty Rhodes picked it up, and believe it or not, Tony Atlas picked it up. So we all imitated Thunderbolt because he had certain moves and certain things he did in the way that really electrified the audience. Well, anyway, we're wrestling, and we're on an airplane, and Thunderbolt going to wrestle a guy called Tank Patton. Now, Thunderbolt was probably about 6'1", 6'2", about 250, 260 pounds at the time. But at this time, Thunderbolt had lost some weight, so he was down to probably about 235, 240, because he was 260, but he lost about 20 pounds because he just, you know, he said he moved on it at a lighter weight. Tank Patton was every bit of 350 pounds. Every bit of 6'4", 350. Tank Patton was the name. Huge, big guy. So he's in the ring wrestling Thunderbolt. Well, Thunderbolt didn't put over none of his stuff. Thunderbolt just did his thing. He just did his thing to him. So Tank Patton come back and said, Thunderbolt, you fucking nigger, you didn't sell shit for me. You didn't sell nothing for me. You fucking nigger, you. Thunderbolt said, I'm not going to be no more of them niggers now. Now, Thunderbolt had already came back to the dressing room. He was completely buck naked with flip-flops on and a towel wrapped around him when they got in a fight. Well, Thunderbolt, what a lot of people don't know, used to box. So every time he hit Tank, he cut him with his hand. Thunderbolt knew how to hit and cut you. He would cut you. Every time he hit you, he cut you. Break skin. Tank is bleeding all over his face, looked like a freaking pumpkin. Bolt beat him. Finally, Bolt knocked him down. Now, Thunderbolt smoked a lot of weed back then. Probably still do. So he was still kind of stoned. After he won the fight, Thunderbolt had went religion. We heard a lot of wrestlers say Thunderbolt went religion. Thunderbolt get his Bible, sat on Tank Patton's chest, naked, with flip-flops on, and read the Bible to him. Now, before the fight is over with, I tried to break the fight up, me and Dusty Rhodes. We tried to stop Thunderbolt and Tank Patton for fighting. Bill Watts came to me and Dusty Rhodes and said, if you guys break up another fight in this dressing room, you're fired. He said, I'm going to fire you. He said, when people get ready to fight here, let them fight. And that was Bill Watts' motto. You get in a fight, you know, you finish it right there in the dressing room. And then the next day, you moved on. But JYD was a very generous man. He made a lot of money. I don't know how much of it he saved, because Dawg used to come in sometime, have $2,000 or $3,000 in his hand. He would sit there and we just throw it in his bag. and his bag is open. And he's sitting there looking at all that money laying around in his bag, and you always wonder, dog, ain't you afraid somebody will take your money? I'm like, nah, no, I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about it. Nah, I ain't worried about it. I whoop their ass. I whoop their ass. Which he probably could because a lot of people was pretty much afraid of JYD. JYD played professional football, he told me, for I think it was Green Bay. If I'm wrong and you people know what team, correct me on that. But I'm pretty sure he told me he played for Green Bay. He got kicked off the team for fighting his teammates. You said something, the dog had a very short fuse. You said something to JYD, he would tag you. Now, like I said, not putting blame on nobody. Dog, like most of us, we did a little getting high. One day, well, y'all probably saw this tape. The tape where me and Paul Orndorff had the pose down. Me and Paul Orndorff did the pose down, and Paul took the cake and threw it in my face and everything. Well, right after that tape, I was on my way to the airport. Vince McMahon Jr. came and said, Tony, I want you to wait for JYD. He got a few more things here to do. I said, but Vince, let me go. Please, Vince, let me go and catch my flight. Because I knew that Dog was a higher-up guy. So if he's late, nothing going to be said to him. I was on the shit list at that time. So I said, Vince, please, don't let me go. Now, the week before that, I was supposed to take a flight and go to St. Louis, the Joe Louis Arena.
Detroit.
The Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. I was supposed to go to the Joe Louis Arena. I was there the month before I wrestled King Kong Bundy, and Bundy let me win. So this was the return of that match. So Vince rented JYD a Lear jet. The jet has champagne, whiskey, wine, all your hors d'oeuvres you want. The cheese, the crackers, this, none of that, and this. I mean, you would think you're riding with President Trump, the way this thing was all messed up. Nice little jet, strictly for JYD. So, dog, we sitting there drinking wine and eating the food and everything. So when we get off the airplane, JYD want to get himself some gimmick, what we call nose candy back then. He said, I got to get me a little something to wake me up there, kid. Wake me up there. I said, dog, we're going to be like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I said, all right. So I'm sitting in the car. Dog had the limousine to go through the ghettos.
Oh, Jesus.
To the drug dealer house. We got a limousine. We're going through the ghettos, brother. In a freaking limousine.
No one noticed.
Oh, nobody going to notice. Everybody's like, people say, who in the hell is that coming through the ghettos? Coming through the project in a limousine. The car was so long, couldn't turn half of the corners. So anyway, we finally get to the building. Late. When I got there, King Kong Bundy was coming out of the ring.
Oh, shit.
I missed my match. George Wells took my place that night. The Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, you say. So, Dog did his match. Vince come to me and jumped on me. Well, I told you to take care of it. I told you to make sure that they always would put a wrestler in a position where they know that wrestler can't do nothing about it. If I'm down here, it's impossible for me to tell a guy up here what to do. It ain't going to happen. I don't care how big my arms are, how much I bench press. Dog was a main event at that time, and Vince was jobbing my black ass out. So there was not a damn thing I could do to tell JYD, no, you can't go and do this, and you can't go and do that. I couldn't do that. He wouldn't listen to me anyway. I mean, why should he? He was one of the biggest Vince big star. Vince was not doing nothing with me. So there was another time that I was with Dog, with somebody that I got in trouble, but the person that was with me, the big wig, he did not get in trouble. And I'm sure it's the same way with a lot of you people. Y'all can do something with somebody. This person a little bit higher up on the ladder, you down on the bottom. What the old saying, shit always roll downhill. So it rolled down on me all the time with that. But I love dogs. I have no regret. And if I should travel with him again, I'd probably do the same thing with him again. Because we had fun. At that time, we look at it as having fun. We didn't see no wrong in it. We got caught. We laughed it off. Went on the next day and screwed up again. So Ernie Ladd was probably the smartest, nicest individual I ever met. He died of cancer, unfortunately, and he helped me a lot in Mid South. Cowboy Bill Watts out of Mid South, not on it. He got a son named Eric Watts. I wrestled against Eric Watts in WCW back in 1992 and 93, somewhere right around that. Yeah, Eric Watts. And in fact, I was fortunate enough about a year or so to talk to him on the phone. Somebody had his phone number, but great, big, scrappy, nice-looking young man, Eric Watts. He was tag team at that time, I believe, with Dusty Rhodes' son, Dustin.
Okay.
Yeah, before he became Gold Dust.
Yep.
This was back when
was
WCW.
Yep.
Yeah, old WCW. So Bill Watts not only made Ernie Ladd the first black booker, he also made Ron Summers the first black world champion. So Bill Watts is one of the people that are really, really promoting and help a lot of black athletes, Tiger Conway Jr. I mean, you ask any black athlete about Bill Watts, they have nothing good to say about it. At that time, they had a lot of great talent. Buck Robley, probably one of the best workers that this business had ever seen.
And nothing to look at, but it was all about up here.
Yeah, smartest man that ever been in this business. He knew how to get a match over. He knew how to get the fans involved. He knew how to put butts in the seat. Buck Robley, I don't know if he's still living or not, but a very, 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 very intelligent man. He was, he worked Mid South a lot, and of course, all y'all remember Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase was just like JYD. He was a very, very big draw in the Mid South area, So Mid South wrestling was a place all of us used to enjoy going. I used to love Jake the Snake Roberts was there. Now Jake's father also became the booker in Mid South. His name was Grizzly Smith, and he used to have a tag team partner with just as big as him. They called themselves the Kentuckians. Years ago, Grizzly Smith was a Kentuckian. Grizzly was about 7 feet tall, 6'10", 6'9", somewhere in that neighborhood. Nice man. In fact, Grizzly Smith taught me how to make beef stew. That's where I learned how to make beef stew. His son, Sam Houston, which is Jake's brother, took me over to his house one day, and Grizzly and Smith were making that old beef stew, and the best beef stew I ever had in my life. So that was pretty much a lot of my time in the Mid-South area. I love the gumbo, Louisiana mud ball, fried catfish, fried gator bites. You ever had gator bites?
No.
Brother, they're good.
Oh, I'm sure
They're like chicken nuggets,
Okay.
but it's alligator. They call them gator bites. You have one, you would like it. One time, some guys invited JYD. They were called Cajuns, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They lived in the swamp.
Yeah.
They're swamp people. They invited Dog to his house. There was a birthday party for a kid or something. There was all wrestling fans that loved JYD. So Dog said he's gonna go. So I said, okay, I'll go with you. Now Dog drove a 450 Mercedes Benz. That was a big brown Mercedes Benz. So when we got to this dirt road, we had to get out the car. Then we get in this boat with a big fan behind you. I don't know what the hell that was. What is that, Larry?
I don't know what the name of the boats are, but
Big old gigantic
good for catching gators and all that.
Yeah, it's a fan.
Yeah, it's a
that blows.
airboat.
Airboat, yeah, glaze. We get to this house up on stilts with water all around it. The guy had a pot going. He pulled this big net, something made out of chicken wire or something, out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Had everything crawling around in there. Now, lizards and snakes and everything was in this freaking thing. He dumped that right on in the pot. I'm sitting there looking at him. I'm going, what the hell did you put in that pot? Dog said, don't ask, just eat. He said, don't ask, Tony. I don't want to know. So whatever came out that pot, we ate. I don't know
Well,
what I was eating.
I'm glad I wasn't with you, brother.
Brother. Right? You're out in the middle, you out in the bayou. You insult this guy.
Oh,
you
I
may,
know. Oh, no,
you
no,
may
no.
stay in the bayou.
Yeah, I know.
So you
Remember
know.
Chicago?
Oh yeah, you
all
know.
right.
Yeah, you
Enough
stay in the
said.
bayou.
Yeah, you stay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll make sure I don't go down and hang out with locals down in
Oh
Louisiana.
no. But like I said, I'm going back years. You know, that area probably not even there no more. The people probably don't live that way. But you got to realize the '70s was a time where it was right before the changeover. So you had a lot of stuff that date all the way back to the. I mean, there was still farmers in Virginia in the '60s and '70s that was hauling hay with a fork. You know, they put them in these little rows, had a hay rake, put them in row, and you throw them on the back of the trailer. Everybody didn't have a hay baler. There was still farmers walking behind a mule. You know, late '70s, early, in the '70s that couldn't afford the
Tractors, yeah.
Now nobody used horses and mules or nothing like that. I say about the '80s, everything in mostly place. So when I tell these stories about Louisiana, somebody may call me up. Well, I live there, brother. We don't live on no damn stick houses no more. Back then you did. When I was there, you did. That's what I saw. But then they had these Indians that was in Louisiana I didn't know about. And the guy told me there's only property in the United States that still don't belong to the United States. The Indians in that area, in the swamp, they own it. I can't think of the name.
Well, there's a bunch of reservations all over now.
Yeah. Somebody know what name of these Indians are that live in the Louisiana area. Go ahead and text me and let I can't remember the name of them, but they live right in the swamp. They said back in the 1800s, the U.S. government tried to get them out, and they went in there. They didn't think about going back out there no more. Let's put it that way. But that was my time with Louisiana. I love Cowboy Bill Watt, Grizzly. I met Jake the Snake Roberts there, Ted DiBiase, JYD, Puster Pants Watley was another great wrestler. Skip Young was another.
So, in the past, you've told us about how there was only room for one top African American.
Right.
But it seems like we have a whole.
Yeah, but these were like different territories. I mean,
I thought you were talking about Mid-South.
Well, no, they all came into Mid-South, but they didn't stay. Just like when I went to Mid-South, Junkyard Dog was the Mid-South top guy. Thunderbolt Patterson was Georgia top guy.
Oh.
Tony Atlas was Mid-Atlantic. So what Bill Watts would do when he had these big shows, he would fly in the Funks. He would fly in Harley Race. He would fly in me and Tommy Rich. He would bring big names from other, kind of like WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But instead of all the wrestlers coming from the WE, the wrestler came from different territory. Like with Texas, we have their big Thanksgiving show. They would have wrestlers come in from different territory. They had big names that was a big draw. It was like a big mega card. But they only did these maybe every 3 months that they would do these big shows. And on time that I would go to Louisiana when I had a big show. But sometimes Bill would have you stay for a couple of weeks, and you do the loop. So you would stay there for a couple of weeks, and then you after live Mid-South, you hop a flight and maybe fly to Vernonia. See what they had then? They call it the NWA.
Yes.
Now the NWA did stretch all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yeah.
That whole bottom half was NWA. It said Georgia Championship Wrestling, but it was all part of the NWA.
Correct. Yeah.
I think, if I'm not wrong, I think the guy that started it was Eddie Graham, Mike grandfather, if I'm not mistaken. And what they would get together like once every 6 months or once a year. They would have this big meeting, and they would talk about how they're going to do talent. Just like they say, well, Barnett, you got Tommy Wildfire Rich in Georgia. I I would like to use Tommy for a couple of months, in Louisiana. They said, oh, okay, Bill. Yeah. He said, can you send me Ric Flair? I would like to have Ric Flair for a while. That's why I say Harley Race was a true world champion because Harley Race wrestled from different territories. All the guys that he would come to Georgia and wrestle the Georgia champion. He would go to Mid Atlantic, wrestle the Mid Atlantic champion. He'd go to another territory and wrestle against another
St. Louis,
St.
Kansas
Louis,
City,
and Kansas City. So he would go to all these different places, but they was different territory. Whereas now your world champion only wrestle the people in his area.
Right.
Like if you want to get a world champion now, you would have to have the WWE world champion, a Ring of Honor world champion, and AEW world champion, an Impact Wrestling, and next, NXT world champion, and you have a bout, and then whoever wins, that would be that champion. But you see, the WWE champion is going to never wrestle AEW champion, and AEW champion is never going to wrestle Ring of Honor champion. So that's why you don't have any more world champion. See, we had just one world champion. Now, AWA had a world champion, and WWF at that time had a world champion. But they was not part of the NWA. The NWA had one world champion. That world champion would go from and Japan.
Yeah.
He would go to Japan and wrestle in Japan. He would go to Australia and wrestle guys in Australia. He would go to Germany and wrestle German champion. He would go to England and wrestle the English champion. So he was what they call really was a world champion. Now they call you a world champion, but in your whole career you may wrestle 6 people in the same territory. Or you wrestle the same 3 people 6 times.
Yeah. They say Ric Flair was the last traveling world champion.
Yes. Yeah, I will agree with that. Ric Flair was probably the last of the world champions. You had who held the NWA belt was Harley Race, Ric Flair. I believe both of the Funks. I know Dory had it. I think Terry. I think Terry was world champion too, and that's pretty much how the business was back in them days. So when they call you a world champion, you were truly a world champion.
And it was rough.
A lot rougher than people thought it was.
I heard of champions. I'm done. Put it on. Get it off. Put it on somebody else. I can't do it no more.
Yeah, because the traveling was incredible. Harley Race wrestled me in Georgia. Well, the next day, Harley Race is in California. The next day. Then after California, Harley Race would take a 6-hour flight back to New York to wrestle in New York area. Then he would fly from New York down to Florida.
Yeah.
Then he'd go from Florida to Japan. I wrestled Harley Race. Oh, I got to tell this story.
Well, let's hear it.
I hope I don't get kicked off of YouTube for telling it.
We'll find out.
Yes. I just won a bodybuilding contest called the Mr. Hercules WBBG World Bodybuilding Guild, and the promoter name was Dan Lloyd. And I just won this contest. So Ole Anderson was the booker, and me and Harley, we're going to wrestle 1 hour for the NWA World Championship. So I'm getting ready to go to the ring. Here come Ole Anderson. Ole was the booker. Hey kid, where them trunks at that you win them contests? What you wear when you win them contests? So I pulled out them little bitty trunks. They were like bikinis.
String bikinis.
Little string bikini. So I pulled them out. And Harley Race said, just so people know, Larry, yeah, grab one of them pictures. Yeah, Larry gonna go and get. Y'all got to see what I have. Now make sure you hang it back up now, Larry.
Of course,
The picture on the wall. Yeah, the one in the center there. Yeah, Larry's gonna hang it back up for me. Cause I'm old, you see. That's why I like to have young people around you. Because these young folk, they can run
Young
and do
people,
things.
you're funny, young people.
Yeah, well, 50 is young to me. Okay, I don't know if y'all can see these trunks. You see what I'm talking about?
They teeny.
These are trunks that I used to wear when I used to bodybuild. Okay? So Larry, Harley Race saw me standing in the ring with a pair of wrestling boots on and them
So you
damn.
wore those to the ring?
I wore them to the ring.
Jeez.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So,
let's do
yeah,
that right here. That's...
Yeah. So anyway, I put them deep little trunks on in the ring. So with Harley, he had his head down, got his robe on. He got his back to me. He pulled on the ropes a little bit. Then he pulled his robe up, folded it up, laid it out. He ain't seen me yet. So then he turned, and this is the look on Harley's face. He just stared at me just like that. Kept looking at me.
Like it was going to change.
Oh, yeah.
They were going to
So
grow.
finally, you have to come to the ring, so the referee checked my feet, and make sure I got nothing in there.
Make sure there's nothing in your...
nothing in my tights.
Nothing in your
Nothing
tights.
in my tights, all that stuff. So anyway, make a long story short, Harley kind of, hey, kid, what the fuck you got on there? You forgot to put on your trunks. Maybe you go back and you forgot your freaking trunks, kid. You got your underwears on out here. I said, these my bodybuilding trunk. This ain't no damn bodybuilding contest. This is a wrestling contest. Who told you to wear them damn trunks out here? I said, the booker, Ole Anderson, told me to wear my bodybuilding trunk. He trying to put a fucking rib on me or something.
Yep.
He said, you're gonna wrestle them damn things? I said, I can't jump out the ring and go back and change. He said, all right, let's get it on there. So we wrestled around for a little bit. All of a sudden, Harley said, headlock me. So I grabbed Harley in the headlock. Harley said, I want you to backdrop me. So anyway, I reversed the headlock. Harley grabbed the headlock on me. He reversed headlock, put it on me. Cause he headlocked me to tell me what to do. Then he headlocked me, and he threw me into the rope. I mean, I threw Harley into the rope. He said backdrop, which means what he gonna do? I supposed to throw Harley into the rope. Harley come off the rope, and I give him a backdrop. I said, okay. I whoop Harley into the rope. I bent over to give him a backdrop. Harley, as he went over, he grabbed them damn trunks and pulled them some of the guns all the way down to my damn knees.
Alabama Black Snake, baby.
My three little bitty trunks were down here. And they roll up too. I had a hell of a freaking time trying to get the little skippy ass. I mean, when I turned around, it went right up the crack of my butt and everything. So I got my testicles hanging out this way, my private part hanging out that way. The little part is up my freaking butt. So I'm trying to hide myself. I snatched Harley in the headlock. I said, Harley, Harley, what the hell do you do that for? Harley started laughing. I wanted the people to see the dark side of the moon. The dark side of the moon. That was his little gimmick. So now I got mad. So I take him over in the headlock. And I'm going to squeeze him, show my strong arm. So Harley just took the nipple on my chest. And he started grinding it with his teeth like this.
Oh, Jesus.
He said, hey, kid, loosen the fuck up, or I will bite your nipple off, and you can't win no more of them contests. I go, okay, Mr. Race. Because I've been in bars with Harley. When I first met Harley Race, they sent me to St. Louis, Missouri, and Kansas. And we stayed at this hotel named the Razorback or something. And I would sit and watch Harley wrestle. They called him Handsome Harley Race then. He would get up on the top rope, put his hand on the side, and come up for a diving headbutt and hit you right in the head with his head. Incredible move, incredible. So anyway, I go to my car. And back then, there was a lot of Larry Hunt looking people there, you know. Long ass old beard, you know, old, you know, hillbilly looking hats and stuff. And everybody had one of them in their trunks. Everybody had one of these bad boys in their trunk. So I'm afraid to go out to my car. So Harley was the last match. He come out and said, "Hey kid, I thought you was gone. What you doing here?" I said, "Harley, I'm afraid." He said, "What?" I said, "I'm the only black guy here." I said, "You got all these white guys out in the parking lot, man, with guns." I said, "I'm kind of afraid." "All right, don't worry about it. Just tell them you're a friend of mine. I whooped everybody in this town." Back then, if when you call a wrestler a faker or whatever, that wrestler would tell you this: "Get into the ring. I show you fake." He would bring you to the ring, just kick the dog shit out of you. And most of them guys could do it. So Harley did that a lot. He would invite you into the ring and just beat the hell out of you and throw you out of the ring. So I went to the car and I would do this. I know Harley Race. I know Harley Race. I know Harley Race. He's my friend. He's my friend. I did that all the way to the car. The reason that I did that, because I didn't know. But I found out there's more that I need to tell y'all later about the one that, who I said outside of Ric Flair. It's a toss-up between Ric Flair and Harley Race as the #1 NWA World Heavyweight Champion. It might be Harley Race. Somebody's calling me right now. Probably someone telling me that I was wrong. You know. But anyway, we are about almost out of town now.
We are, yep.
And once again, and you want to say something, Larry?
When wrestling was real.
Yeah.